I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
I'm offering this money as a reward on your head.
Mel Gibson.
You still have a chance to do the right thing.
In a Ron Howard film.
If you don't, then God be with you, because nobody else on this earth will be.
I will never, ever quit. Give me back my son! Ransom, rated R. Starts Friday, November 8th.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another PayPal request for Albin. Thank you so much for your generosity. And thanks to everyone who has done that. If you ever want to request a PayPal review, movie topic, or review pretty much anything, feel free. My PayPal link is down below, or if you want to be part of my Patreon, the link to that is down below too. And the review for today is the 1996 film Ransom, starring Mel Gibson. You also have Rene Russo, Delroy Lindo, Sinise, Donnie Wahlberg, Liev Schreiber. A really good cast in this. And it's directed by Ron Howard. Funny enough, this film was a big hit, but this is a Ron Howard film no one ever mentions and no one ever talks about. And you know what? It's a good one. For some reason, I don't love the movie. I don't know what it is. I don't love the film, but it's a fairly good movie, mainly for two reasons. Mel Gibson and Sinise. And Mel Gibson, I think this is one of his best performances. He is the glue of this movie. He's wonderful. He's emotional. He's intense. The plot, you can gather from the title. Mel Gibson's a rich guy with a wife and kid. They're even all watching his commercial. He has this company that's been dragged through the tabloids for months. He gets along well with his son. One day they're out in public and the son is taken. And then Mel Gibson and Rene Russo, who is his wife, the mom of the son, they get a message one day in the old school email, which was fun to watch, to see how the old school emails were back in the day. And pretty much going from this altered voice, we have your son, don't call any cops, don't tell anybody. So they do. And pretty much this cat and mouse chase where the bad guys want the money. Liev Schreiber, Donnie Wahlberg. Donnie Wahlberg's kind of the one with a bit of heart to him. Liev Schreiber plays Donnie Wahlberg's brother, Sinise. You think he's a cop, but he's part of the bad guys. Which you kind of given away in the trailer. Kinda. At least some trailers for this. And it's one of those things where, I don't know, people are like, oh, you gave it away. Believe me, if I didn't, Siskel and Ebert gave it away when they reviewed the film. So, hey, I did the same thing. I think it was Roger Ebert that said it when they reviewed the film, so I don't feel bad. But they're part of a group. He was like, well, how do you know what happens is some stuff goes wrong. Ultimately, it results in a decision. If you watch the trailer, you know this already, where Mel Gibson knows this is your money. He's on the news. This is your money, but this is as close you're going to get to it. Because I'm offering this money as a reward on your head. They're alive in the water. And so he puts a bounty, and then later on he even doubles it, the reward. And part of me is like, well, how do you know that the bad guys will do this? But the movie itself, when you watch it, does address that issue. Because Delroy Lindo's the cop, and he's like, you gotta take it back. You can't do this. Bet on the people who pay. And then Mel Gibson has a good line. Did you bet on the ones where you got back a corpse? Rene Russo wants him to change his mind. And you have an actual scene where I give credit where Mel Gibson is explaining his mindset. Whether you agree or disagree, he's explaining his mindset. So watching it again, I appreciate that they're at least delving into that. It's not just blindly ignoring it. They do go into, well, is this really the right mindset? And there's even a nice emotional moment where Mel Gibson, when he thinks his son's dead and he's crumbling to his knees and Rene Russo's hugging him. Again, Rene Russo, I liked him as an actress. Of course, the two of them have worked together on Lethal Weapon 3. So nice to see them back together. Delroy Lindo's a good actor. He does a nice job as the cop. Sinise, I'm a Sinise fan. The first time I saw him was the TV miniseries of The Stand, because I saw that when it debuted on ABC. I'm like, who is this guy? He's really cool. He's like the best actor in the TV miniseries. As Sinise, and of course he was in Forrest Gump, this movie, Snake Eyes. But I like Sinise a lot, and he does a great job here. And Mel Gibson just has a lot of moments where he just outright shines. He's talking about, oh yeah, all this team in the world bullshit. It's bullshit, and trying to admitting that he's tired of acting tough. Or even when he's emotional on the phone, he's pissed off. You kill him, you kill yourself, motherfucker. You give me back my son. He just, if nothing else, watch this movie for Mel Gibson's performance. I really do feel this is one of Mel Gibson's best performances. And there's interesting bits of dialogue. That there's a phone conversation between him and Sinise, where Sinise talks about the time machine. He talks about like the Morlocks and oh, it reminds you of New York City. You have no idea of the fucking shit going down below. And every once in a while, when you get snatched. And I had not seen this film in forever, probably since it first came out. But I would say watch it again. I liked it more than I did in the past. I never hated the film. I will say, the reason at the beginning I said I don't love it, something about the pacing. It's a little over 2 hours. I do think there's an easy way to shave off about 20 minutes of the running time. And I think it would help. I know a lot of my reviews, I always talk about pacing, because I do think pacing is one of the strongest points of a film, or one of the weakest. It's something that a lot of people don't seem to mention, but it's like everything. Acting, you want it to be as best as possible, special effects, but also pacing. But again, that's something that seems like a lot of people don't really mention. When you watch a lot of reviews, that's a terminology that doesn't get brought up a lot, but I do think it's a very important part of a movie. I guess, I'm sorry, the reason I'm spacing out here is that gets in the third act. Do I really want to spoil it? I'll mention like spoiler warning, but I don't know, again, I do think there are parts that it could be either shortened, or Oh, just something about it. It felt a little bit too long. But at the same time, Mel Gibson really... I think what it is, I know this is going to sound stupid. I know this is something people praised about. I kind of wish the movie didn't delve as much to the kidnappers. Because the movie at times will go to the kidnappers and what they're doing. Like Donnie Wahlberg, who's being nice to the kid, and Liev Schreiber, and... I forget the other girl's name. I think she was in that remake of The Haunting. She was the star of it. Not Catherine Zeta-Jones, but the other girl. And I like Gary Sinise, but I didn't really need a focus on the other guys. Not that they're bad, like Liev Schreiber, but I kind of wanted it all. I know that's more of the typical thing where you focus on the person. They're like Kidnapped with Halle Berry, or even Searching with John Cho, or other kidnap thrillers where you're centering the focus is on the person whose child or whatever has disappeared or missing or taken. Liam Neeson's taken. But I guess personal preference, I just prefer that focus on the parent or the whatever you want to call that. Well, that's typical. Yeah, but just something about wanting the kidnappers to be a bit more mysterious. So maybe bring a little bit more suspense to that avenue, or a little bit more mystery, or like, oh, what is happening with the kid? I mean, usually in these movies, the child will be all right, but is the kid damaged at all? What's going to happen? Like, it felt like we lost more of the mystery because we kept going back to the bad guys, and we see the whole layer and them just talking, and then they're fighting with each other. And I do think Mel Gibson, his character, is the strong point of the movie. And because I was enjoying Mel Gibson so much, I'm like, I like Gary Sinise and the other actors are fine, but let's go back to Mel Gibson because his performance is really so emotional and intense, and all the avenues of emotion. He's crying, he's angry, he's sad, he's pissed off, and he's he's the best part of the movie. So part of me wishes the entire movie was just focused on this. If there's a lot of candles, he's the one burning the brightest. And I felt the concept going back to the kidnappers lost a little bit of something. And then by deleting some of that, it would fix some of the pacing issues. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. But it's still a really good thriller. The finale is entertaining. Didn't more into spoilers. What I was spacing at a while ago is at the end of the film, in the third act, Mel Gibson doubles the money. And then people are like, oh, what are we going to do? I'm like, okay, it's a good thing that it worked out in Mel Gibson's favor, because some of the people were ready to kill the kid. And thankfully, A, B, and C happened, and thus the kid was alive. And then thankfully Gary Sinise said, okay, I'm going to kill all of my partners. But the movie does address that beforehand, where Gary Sinise goes, the kid's going to die, but he's going to die only when we don't need him anymore. So it at least does address that. And then Gary Sinise has made himself to be the hero, which I thought that bit was interesting. And then you get this scene where Gary Sinise and Mel Gibson, when Mel Gibson finds out who Gary Sinise really is, and you get a satisfying finale where Mel Gibson is able to beat the shit out of Gary Sinise, and they both crash through a window, and they all got blood over each other. and then even able to shoot Gary Sinise's character. So it's a satisfying ending. I guess, even though I don't mind Donnie Wahlberg and Liev Schreiber and even the other girls acting, part of me thinks you didn't really need those other characters. Part of me thinks all you really needed was Gary Sinise. Like, you could have had this mysterious figure, because he's using an alternate voice, and maybe like halfway through we realize it's Gary Sinise, and then you have these verbal where we know it's Gary Sinise, but he's using the voice alternative guy, and then maybe he knows people a little bit, but then he shoots and frames them. I didn't. You didn't really need the other. I know it's not gonna make sense to anybody else. I'm not even making sense in the only review. I just think these other side character villains, at the end of the day, I don't think they were really needed. But I guess that's part of the thing, is that Mel Gibson's character, he's upping. But then it wasn't really like a fight of, no, I'm going to fuck you over, no, I'm going to fuck you over. It didn't really go into that Reservoir Dogs. Well, I can't even say that, but it was more like, oh, Gary Sinise is going to do it before they do it. In a weird way. I mean, they did a little bit of it. I don't know, I'm just... Part of me would rather prefer it just more simple. I know that's a dumb way to put it, but just because Gary Sinise, Mel Gibson, they were the strongest points, I'm like, you really just needed those two. You didn't really need the superfluous other villainous characters. I just didn't find them that interesting. The acting was fine. I just didn't find them. They was almost got in the way. But that's just, I mean, that's just me. But nice, competent direction by Ron Howard. Good supporting roles by Delroy Lindo, Rene Russo. Mel Gibson is the first and foremost MVP of this movie. Satisfying conclusion. Gary Sinise, very underrated actor, I would put it. And, you know, Ransom has a lot of good notes to it. So it was nice to watch this again. I had not seen it in a while. If you like these type of movies, definitely check it out. I know Mel Gibson has done some fucked up things that he said, but we're not perfect. He's apologized many, many times. And it's like, well, I don't know what else people want him to do. It doesn't excuse what he did, but, you know, he did apologize many times. You know, you either keep going or you forgive. And it's like, you know what? He's a good actor. Give him the benefit of the doubt. And, you know, I did enjoy him in this movie. I keep saying, easily one of his best performances. And for a film that was a big hit but no one ever talks about, it's worth, you know, people giving it another rewatch for these two guys. And that's the thing, like, these two guys were so good that I would rather see more of just that than Liev Schreiber, Donnie Wahlberg, the other girl. I don't know why I keep forgetting the girl's name. But again, that's just me. But, you know, still a thumbs up. Some nice, good, and intense moments, emotional moments from Mel Gibson. And Rene Russo was no slouch either. But thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you in the next video. Later.